Alright, this video I'm going to cover the inspection, cleaning, and reassembly of the valve and hammer and the cocking assembly on a FX impact. Alright, on your breech action here, when you have all the guts out, you need to inspect for any kind of dirt, debris in there and clean it up. I usually get the lint-free wipes. Just go in there and clean it like this. So you have your own other methods, but it'd be a lot of residue of wear. This is where the hammer works. Does a lot of load. I cleaned this earlier. It was really more dirtier than that. But after that, you need to lightly apply some silicone. I use a synthetic lube. You know, just a little bit in a cotton swab. Just gently wipe some on the bore and back. So that section is ready to go in. Alright, let me explain to you what goes in this piece here. This is your long hammer and valve assembly. Alright, it's like this. Like this. Alright. When you put this back together, make sure, I'm take it apart here and show you. This valve section, you could unscrew it off. This is the actual seat in the Delron. The valve. The spring is just to keep the valve shut. And this is your hammer spring. It's called a floating valve guide. I mean a spring guide, so it doesn't flex like this. It's kind of floating. So if you tilt your gun top and bottom, you hear this little something loose, you know. But actually, it's this Delron piece here you hear. All right, and this is the actual hammer. All right. And it goes in like this. Hope you can see it in the video here. And I want to redo this for a long time. But it goes in like that. Alright. Key point here. I've seen some with no set screw in this. This is called your end of your valve. So when you cock the hammer spring, it cocks it this way, right? And this, when you let go of the shear, because the shearing gauge is right here on another gear, but the pin, the cocking pin is right here. See it right there? It's going to catch right here and cock it. All right, and cock it back, and you put the close the bolt. It's going to be all the way forward, so when it comes slamming in, it'll bottom out and doesn't really hit this cocking pin. All right. When this plunger goes forward, all right, this is when your thumb adjuster or valve stem travel limiter. All right, this is going to fly out forward. This plunger here has a little rubber dome washer here. Right, so you can limit the travel of the valve, so you can control how much volume of air comes out when it opens. Like you can totally close it or fully back it out and let the valve fully open. Right. Usually there's a set screw here. It's 1 mil. You could unscrew this out, but since this side was already loose, I took it out from this side. Alright. And if you put it back this way, assemble it and assemble it with the valve. Right, when you assemble this is in the gut, you gotta put the spring in, then you screw this piece on. Problem is, there's nothing here to really torque it down. I found this piece here loose, and it affected the length of this plunger here. So this was unable to screw in all the way to go down to the first line. So it's partially out, and this screwed in only a half. So there was a problem with this because this piece was not bottomed out, so it prevented from unscrewing and making the whole valve longer. So what I do is, when you do it this way, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to put Loctite in here on the threads and partially in there, and screw it on kind of tight. Alright, then wipe out the excess and let it cure overnight before you assemble it. Well, you can put it back together as long as you don't fire it and test it for the next day. Alright, and also when you do your inspection, make sure this is smooth, there's no burr, so less friction with this hammer travels back and forth. And make sure there's no big dents where this pin there is some issue. If the cocking lever is not fully closed, this pin could be in the way. When you fire it, it'll hit this pin, and sometimes you'll have this issue with this pin from bending, and you have to bend it back. Luckily there's a hex head on this piece here. You could, put a hex wrench in there and back it out if you can, then straighten out the pin. What I do on some of them, I enlarge this pin almost twice as well, thicker and beefier. Alright, and I haven't seen it bend yet. Look at the mosquitoes here. Alright, then so you'll cover all the section here when you assemble it. And this piece here, your cocking mechanism here, your rod, this piece cocks the hammer. When you close it, the probe goes in and aligns with the round support. When I took this apart, I found out this was loose. It can be loose, but I like to set this Loctite in. And this is a left hand threaded. Alright, the counterclockwise to unscrew it. Alright. Okay. And this piece here, when it screws onto this piece, is tight, so you have to worry about it backing out. Or worry about this one here. If you do want to Loctite this or mess around some other setting, you have to measure this before you back this out, because it's very important, because your transport is not going to line properly and you fully close the bolt. So there's two little holes here to tighten this down. Like you put a dowel pin in here, then you can torque this down. But and sometimes they're not, you can say this is not torqued down. It was kind of backed out to get the proper transport alignment. Alright, so be careful when you move this piece. Do not make this any shorter or longer, because it's very easy to rotate it. Alright, when you have it out, just a quick reference is you measure from the nearest hole here to enter this piece here, and take a measurement, get your reference point to go back. You want to take this piece off. And also what I found out, the bolt holder here was loose like this. Let me see if video sees it. Yeah, this was loose. So what I would do, I would Loctite this screw here, because it's very critical. You don't want this misalign and make it seem like the probe set screw is loose somehow. Alright, but you want to align it perfectly, Loctite it, and tighten up the screw. Then later on, after you take alignment of your probe, closing into the breech, and it was perfectly aligned, you Loctite this piece here. I usually put Loctite first, screw it in, I tighten it down to the right tension till it's fully aligned, and leave it there, let it cure. Alright, that's most of the details on this piece. Another note, on this caulking block here, there is a Delron bushings. Has a guide. It's kind of a bearing that slides back and forth. It has some 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. Sometimes it has a tendency there. You could pull them out. I see a couple of them fall out. You just got to put them back in when you reassemble it. Alright, it's a critical piece in the way of the measurement. If you take it apart, make sure you have a reference point. Alright, also, while we're at it, this bushings here, this is where the barrel goes in, and another one here. Let's see a video, and then watch the video, make sure you see everything. There's 2 O-rings in here, 2 O-rings in here. What I like, but the OEM O-ring will work just fine, but for me, I like this barrel to be tight in there, tight when it's set. So I changed this O-ring to the next size, so the barrel has a nice fit in there, so it minimizes barrel movement. That would cause point of impact change. Alright, there's 2 here, 2 here. There's nothing in here because it cocks, it floats on the barrel. Alright, I think I covered the internals. If something I forgot, I will cover it again while it's all disassembled. Catch you next one.